Good day, you all, collaborators. Welcome to another episode of the Coffee and Collaborations Presents the Ultimate Fan Club podcast. Can y'all tell I'm still getting used to saying that? I am your host, Kimberly Winborne. I mean, we've been Coffee and Collaborations for 3 years, and now I change it. So I'm still getting used to saying that. But it's a reason why I have to stick with it, because I am bringing my friends, whether they're actually my friends or I trust them, because friends have said these people are dynamic people. You got to have them on your show, or I've seen something in them. So I'm just grabbing them and calling them my friends. You know how I do. But F.A.N is Friends Accountability Network. So anybody out there try to do things on your own and you realize you need some accountability. And so your network is going to help to keep you accountable to your goals. Just naturally, sometimes being around the right people help you to move to your next level. And that's what I want to do. And that's what I want to inspire you to do. So as you know, this show has always been a platform for resources and giving tools for free right on air so that you can go out and immediately implement these tools and resources and do better and be better, because the ultimate goal is to win, especially in our businesses, and to not feel like you're alone. Yes. So welcome to another episode of Coffee and Collaborations Presents the Ultimate Fan Club podcast. I am your host, Kimberly Winborne of Kimberly Winborne LLC, founder of Coffee and Collaborations Media. And today we have an amazing guest, like always. It's a new month. We're in the month of May. So all of you mothers out there, happy Mother's Day. I hope that you all have an amazing month-long, not just one day, month-long celebration. And like I told you all last week, we're declaring this the year 2021 is financial literacy year. So I'm not going to say anymore, April was financial literacy month. I mean, it was, but I am declaring that this is the year to get it right financially. You guys know that I just came out with my book, The Debt Detox. So I want to be sure to let you know that you can get your copy. It's available. It's now on Amazon. It is now, well, should be available to you. And if not, I'll let you know. Follow Kimberly Winborne LLC so we can make sure you get your pre-order and I can reach back out to you. So the year of financial literacy, we are bringing in some guests like today's guest, who is an expert in the area of finance in her field. And I was very impressed by her when I met her virtually. We haven't met in person, through a group called Year of the Black Entrepreneur. It's a program under Triangle Entrepreneurial Leadership, which you guys know that I'm the director of communications for and been a part of since its inception with Ryan Ray, who's also been a guest probably the first year. He'll be back. So I'm bringing Saa'dia Douglas on to join us right now. Let me get her in the right view, you guys, so you can see her. Okay, awesome. Welcome, Saa'dia.
Hi.
Hi.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. So she is the CEO of Prosperity Financial Services. Love it. Prosperity. We all want to prosper in our finances. So tell us a little bit about.
That's right.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about Prosperity, like how you started that. And it's been a while now. So give us a little bit of information on what you got going on over there.
So I've been in business for over 20 years, and I came up with my name, Prosperity Financial Services, because one, as a Christian, I do believe in prosperity. My tree represents planting the seed and having it flourish, bringing forth fruit, which means the time and effort that we put into making our finances good, the time we spend in it, we bear the fruit of that, and then we're able to be financially free.
Absolutely. Which is the goal, right? Like who that's watching right now doesn't want to be financially free? I know that I do. Absolutely. And tell us a little bit about the breakdown of your services.
So I offer a variety of services. Of course, during tax season, my main clients come back for taxes, and I'm always taking on new tax clients. I know within the tax arena, I do specialize in businesses as well as personal. And I really love my clients that come to me with either tax problems or they haven't filed in 2 or 3 years. They're like, oh my gosh, can you save me? And
Yes.
so I go in there, complete their taxes. I work with the IRS and offers and compromise. So I
Okay.
have quite a few clients that, just misunderstood tax code, maybe did the taxes on their own,
Mm-hmm.
um, were
Yeah.
misguided. And so they owe the IRS and they come to me for help so that I can negotiate between the IRS and them.
Awesome. One of the things that I want to ask you about that is because the PPP, all of this stuff since the pandemic, we're learning new. Well, I had known about the PPP prior to, but I think it's like a new term, a new thing for many entrepreneurs, especially because we really needed a lot of help. And so, are you helping people through that process at all? Are they coming to you?
Yes.
Because I know some people that are in the field are, and some are not.
So I do work with, like I said, a lot of business clients. And
Yeah.
so my business clients are coming to me. They're referring other business clients, whether they be LLCs, nonprofits, corporations, saying,
Yeah.
how can I get some of the money? Because we have had an economic downturn.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I help them position themselves to be able to get the PPP.
Yeah.
So that includes filling out their paperwork, making sure that their profit and loss statements are available, making sure they have all of their tax documents for the last few years.
Yeah.
In some cases, there's a misunderstanding and people think that everyone can get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You have to have been in existence prior to the pandemic. So this
Right.
cannot be a new business. And you also have to have had a dip in revenue. So
Mm-hmm.
that meant you didn't bring in as much money. So, for instance, my business, I wouldn't qualify because
Mm-hmm.
I skyrocketed during the pandemic. So,
Awesome.
those companies that were able to pivot for the change and becoming virtual, virtual, we didn't, probably didn't qualify because we couldn't show that we had a financial impact. Thank
Mm-hmm.
God, right?
Yeah.
So then I work with my clients to prepare them to make sure also that when they're finished, once they've spent their money according to the plan,
Mm-hmm.
payroll, paying business expenses, that they can apply for the loan forgiveness.
Right.
Now
Yeah,
that's very important.
yes, that's another question I was going to ask, that loan forgiveness, because I did have people coming to me asking, because, people hear you're in finance and they think you do everything. I'm like, that is not my area at all. So they were asking if I could help them with that. And I was like, not at all. So you were a resource then for those who
Yes.
need that. Awesome. Yeah. Now, I know a lot of people that were charging a lot to help
Mhm.
people through the beginning and the end. What are your thoughts on that, because I've heard different thoughts. Some people think that it's right, some people think that it's wrong, and I know we all have to make money as entrepreneurs. So how are you structuring it? That's probably a better question.
So I charge $750 to help you get it, and then $750 for your loan forgiveness.
Mm-hmm.
And I charge because it does take quite a bit of time to pull the information together.
Mm-hmm.
While we cannot guarantee that you will be approved through whichever lender,
Mm-hmm.
there are a few lenders where I know people have been approved, and so those become my go-to lenders.
Right.
Um, and so I help you put all your information in the system. And the way I see it, I'm helping you do something you're not able to do. And if
Mm-hmm.
it's of value to you, it's of value to me.
Right.
And so that's kind of how I justify it. Now, keep in mind that if the person chooses to do it on their own,
Mm-hmm.
they are, may not pay out of pocket, but their lender will say, well, I'm going to pull 5% off of the top
Mm-hmm.
of your loan amount.
Oh,
So
wow.
either way, you're going to pay to play. You're going to
Something.
pay to get this service, right? But
Absolutely.
the thing that makes this amazing, not only are you able to write off anything you pay for assistance,
Mm-hmm.
but then you end up getting the money for free.
Yeah.
And prior to PPP loans, there was the EIDL loans, which
Yeah.
you know as a small business.
Yes.
And those aren't forgivable. Those are grants, and you're not able to ask for forgiveness with those.
Right.
So a
Yeah.
lot of people are taking advantage of the PPP loans.
It was so unfortunate so it's a kind of bittersweet, good and bad, that 2020 taught a lot. I mean, it was the year of vision, whether we like it or not, because it taught a
Yes.
lot of business owners exactly, or showed them exactly where they were in their finances. So it
Yes.
helped, I'm sure, for you, helping people to go through this process to see where they were so they can implement change to do something better in the future. And
Mhm.
then but unfortunately, then they couldn't qualify for certain things, so forth and so on. And so it's exciting to hear that your business was still able to grow.
Yes.
Could you tell us a little bit about what it is that you did? Because I heard you mention the virtual shift. So what are some things
Yes.
that you all implemented for those who are out there listening, watching, that are still, because there are people that are still trying to get afloat? What are some tips or some things that you did that we can learn from you?
So I was much like everyone else, trying to figure out what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
Um, and I decided to get a business coach. And my business coach, Stephen Walker, with Manifest Creations, he gave me some great ideas on how I could pivot my company
Mm-hmm.
and grow my company, offer different lines of services. Because if I didn't, I might be one of the ones that, suffered during that
Mm-hmm.
time.
Yeah.
And so I not only, you have to listen to your business coach when you have one, right?
Yeah.
And
You
so not
should.
not to be afraid to take chances on things that you haven't done before. And
Yeah.
so I did exactly followed his instructions. Not only did I go virtual with all of my clients, which, when it comes to what I do, what you
Mm-hmm.
do, people are used to seeing you. That's how they build trust.
Yeah.
Um, but I took advantage of Zoom and Blue Jeans and, all of our other virtual capabilities. And,
Mm-hmm.
we get on here and they say, oh, it's not so bad. I feel like I'm right in front of
Right in
you.
front. Yes.
Yes. And
Yeah.
so that helped build relationship.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to the additional services, I started meeting different groups. One of my business coach gave me something that was so amazing. He said, you need to change your circle of influence
Mm-hmm.
because the world has now changed.
Yeah.
So you're able to reach people you've never met before. You're not limited to your state. You don't have to travel to a conference.
Right.
And so he got me involved in various different groups. And then he taught me the borrow your group's, influence. So you
Yeah.
borrow someone else's customers, they hear how great you are, and then they want to say, hey, well, can you tell me a little bit about this? Can you tell me about that? Um,
Absolutely.
and I think that was so huge for so many of us during the pandemic because people were at home
Yeah.
and they didn't know what to do. And when it comes to finances, it's so stressful for everyone,
It is.
you
It
know.
really
And
is.
I know at the beginning of the pandemic, I did not do the first rounds of PPP for any clients. It wasn't my lane at that time.
Mm-hmm.
I was focusing on pivoting,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
So the bigger banks were doing those. By the time it came to loan forgiveness and the second round, I was aligned, being able to help my clients. And I had also developed lines of services directly focused on my companies,
Mm-hmm.
offering their bookkeeping services, estimated taxes, doing tax returns.
Yeah.
Um, it's been huge because a lot of times you keep going, these companies just keep going and they don't realize that they're not accounting financially the way they should be. And then
Absolutely. Yeah.
when these times happen, they're cash short. They're like,
Yeah.
oh my goodness, I
Yeah.
was counting on next month to pay the bills.
Yeah, yep. And we go, and that's the thing, we do it in our households too, not just our businesses. That's one of the things I talked about show, that so many people, we look at others as if they are over there. So many
Yes.
people, right? But many people are one or two checks away from losing so many of the things that we hold so dear because we haven't put certain things in place, savings, budgeting, which we have to do for our businesses
Oh my
and for
gosh.
personal. And
Yes.
so and so many people talk about being a millionaire. Well, let me tell you,
Mm-hmm.
being in credit repair, I've met several millionaires, so it doesn't necessarily impress me to be in a room with a millionaire because they were millionaires, right? In money coming in, but
Yes.
the
Yes.
debt had them at the trying to get some way somehow their credit fixed, get some debt
Yes.
assumption. They were in debt assumption, trying to
Yes.
consolidate, trying to figure out, should it be a bankruptcy scenario? So, we have to look at our own personal grass and mow that lawn and manicure it, when it comes to our
Yes.
finances, and not be looking at everybody else. But we also have to be empathetic and understand that if we don't put things in place, we could be in that same situation. So now let's put things in place. That's why 2021 is the year, because we
Yes.
went through it in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Now people are starting to see clear. Like you said, you didn't start into the second round with the PPPs, and working with clients in that capacity. And you got a business coach, which I love. We speak to mentorship and coaching so much on this show because it's so pivotal to our success. And then from there, you were able to move forward to where
Mm-hmm.
you're booming
Oh
now
yes. Oh
and
yes.
growing. Yeah. So I
And
love that.
it's so interesting for me simply because I know I came from a person who was making $5 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
That's, that's what you did. But,
Mm-hmm.
and I thought I was doing something when I resigned from my job as an office manager. I was making 16,000. I decided to go back to school.
Mm-hmm.
And there is such a big difference. If you sacrifice for what you have a passion for what you know,
Absolutely.
sacrifice for a time period, after that, you'll reap the rewards.
Yeah.
Okay. So you deny yourself what you need, what you think you need for what
Mm-hmm.
you actually need. So you're planning for the future.
Yeah.
And because I started out the way I did, I learned to save money.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went through a period where, when I had my twins, there was zero money. Okay. The nanny was $1,000. It was horrible. You hear me?
Yeah.
But once they started growing, I was able to stop living paycheck to paycheck because my fear was that if I live paycheck to paycheck, I'm only one incident away from, not losing my home or my vehicle. And
Yeah.
that was too stressful for me.
Yeah.
So my goal has always been to have at least, I started out with having a month in savings. Then I
Mm-hmm.
got to 3 months. I cheered when I got to 6 months. Then I got to a
Yeah.
year. So I
Yeah.
could, during the pandemic, I grew from 6 months to a year in savings
That's
because I
awesome.
never, if we have something like this happen again, I don't want to be in a position that so many people were put in.
Yeah. Yeah.
So our
It's
planning is
tough.
important.
Planning is absolutely important. I mean, and that's tough. That's tough. It's a tough position that many people were put in. It was really sad to see a lot of my business friends, some of them lose their businesses, some
Yes.
people losing their homes, just different things happening as a result of poor planning. And that's why I know that this is such an opportunity now, because we've seen clearly it wasn't a 2020 vision that we were planning for or hoping for, but we were able to see now where we are in order to make a choice to move forward. And you just talked about it, planning. That's
Mhm.
one of the key points that we talk about in my book, because it's a bunch of intentions that are broken down into actions. And planning is one of them. Savings, having a savings, and
Yes.
the
Budgeting.
budget is like
Oh
the
my
enemy.
gosh.
People feel like that's the enemy, but it's
That's my favorite word. I
budget.
developed a whole workshop
Uh-huh.
around business owners to teach them how to budget and work their budget.
Yeah.
Because you free flow. You're thinking, I moved from this job to that job, I'm taking this money to that money. You
Mm-hmm.
have to have a budget built in so that you're actually, if you're on target for the year, if you need to cut
Absolutely.
back, if you need to go for a bigger client.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's no denying.
Yep.
You'll say, okay, you know, Prosperity Financial Services help me develop this business plan, help me develop my budget. And
Mm-hmm.
I keep tabs with them after the workshop. How can
Mm-hmm.
I help you? Have you done this? Have you done that? Because I believe that we have to have what I call millionaire mindsets. We
Agree.
might only be making 10,000. We might be making our first $1,000 in business,
Mm-hmm.
but don't think small. Go as big as you can.
Yep.
You might say, okay, I'm gonna be $100,000 business. Before you get there, I need you to change that to $1 million
Billion.
business.
Yep.
Because I believe if you have faith to believe, you put in the work, God honors that.
Yes, he does.
What the seeds that you plant, they come back to you. You
Yep.
will reap what you sow. You could call it karma, Murphy's Law. All I know is that the principles I follow,
Mm-hmm.
I give, it comes back to me.
The law of giving and receiving. That's
There
a
you
law.
go.
So, one of the things that, because I'm a faith-based person, but not everybody that you run across will be, but we all know that we need to live by principles. We need to live
Yes.
by some sort of foundation that is going to lend us good results. And those are
Yes.
just things that we have to do. We have to save, we have to budget. The GPS for me is a guide. The budget for me is the GPS. It's the
Oh,
guide.
yes. Oh,
It's like,
yes.
okay, if you want to go somewhere, you put it in your GPS and it's going to help you get there. And that's that sitting down and looking at everything over and over. And I'm one of those people that, especially if you're trying to debt roll, so roll down debts and different things like that, you got to do that regularly. You got to look at, what's going on with my interest rates, what's going on with, when you're trying to pay off credit cards, you got to know what you're paying. So many
Yes.
people don't ever read their statements when it comes to credit. They don't even know what these things mean.
I
And so,
know.
you were talking about a budget workshop. I do those also. I would love for we could talk further about that,
Yes.
because I go into the credit side too, with understanding the credit statement and all of that. So y'all, we have to, let me change the subject because we can go
We
on.
can talk about this forever
We can
because
talk
I
about
know,
this.
like, I have clients that I work with on their personal budget workshops.
Yeah.
I get to the point, one of my clients, she just loves shoes. You hear me? She loved her shoes.
Yeah.
And I put her on shoe restriction.
But
and
then it can become a reward.
Yes. And that's how we used it.
Yeah. Yep.
And so she decided she was going to take a trip. And I said, where is that money coming from in your budget? I'm going to have to borrow from my husband. Husband was sitting there. Husband, is she able to get that money from you? Because in the past, you wouldn't have thought about it.
Yeah.
You would have just went and taken a trip. Yes.
Yep.
And so I love the fact that we in our fields, we get to make people aware that their choices tie directly to their money, tied to next month, tied to next year. And I tell them all the time, don't blow your life on Christmas.
Yeah.
It is but a day.
Yeah.
Your credit will meet you on the December 26th. Okay.
Right. Yep.
So
I love that
love
because accountability. So it's helping them to be accountable to themselves, because that's one of the reasons why people run away from coaches and mentors, because they're like, oh, you're going to tell me, you're going to tell me. My thing is this: you tell me what your goals are, what your dreams are. And that's another thing. We got to dream. We got to be,
yes.
You were talking about faith, that faith over fear. So many people have not had the opportunity to dream or to really look beyond their scenario to be able to think that they can receive some things. So because of life, life. And that's one of the reasons why people feel those voids. Shopping is a void filler, as you know. It's so many things that we do to fill voids, and we say, I deserve it. But our deserving it is the thing that's hindering us from really, truly getting the legacy and the things that we want for our families. And they really deserve. So that's one of the questions, the hard questions that I like to ask. Do you deserve it more than your children? More than your legacy? So accountability. I love that I love meeting other people that really focus on that with their clients, because you could just be doing their accounting, right? You could just be, but you're helping them with a bigger picture, and more people need to be doing that with their clients. Yeah, I love that.
And I teach them how, the debt roll down, the snowball effect of analyzing. Should I pay the high interest rate off first or the low balance first? Do I want a quick win? Do I have a long-term, prospect in this? So I teach all of that. But the other piece that I love is that not only do I believe that in order to be financially healthy, you have to be spiritually healthy, emotionally healthy, physically healthy. And a part of what we do, I am in your back, your best interest. I have your back. I'm in the corner for you. And so then when I see things are happening, I ask you about it. How are you doing today?
Yeah.
Oh, how's your mom? These things.
Yeah.
Because they impact how we are as business people, as individuals.
Yeah. And they show up. It shows up. It really does. Like if you're lacking in one area, and you're disciplined in another, it'll begin to show
Oh,
up,
yes.
you know, and that's one of the things that I talk about a lot too. So okay, I'm learning so much in this conversation. This is why I love conversation as opposed to just, you know, Q&A. But
I love it.
and you guys just get to experience it. But one of the things that, so I wrote a blog and it was about, are you a triple threat? And that's the thing. Are you
Okay.
balanced in all of those areas, physically, mentally, spiritually? You know, are you a triple threat? Because if not, then we'll begin to kind of like, you know, eat away at ourselves to a certain degree. And I put self as a big entity. So yourself begins to share with you that you're not standing up to where it needs you to be. And so you'll find yourself bitter or all these other emotions that
Oh,
eat
yes.
away at you.
And
And so,
depression and
yeah,
anxiety. I
all of
know I
that.
had the experience, you know, I might look okay now. I might
Mm-hmm.
tell you the story how I grew during the pandemic, but I lost my mom. And when I
I'm
tell
sorry
you,
to hear about
thank
that.
you, it
Yeah.
devastated me.
Yeah.
I would be in bed for days, okay?
Yeah.
That's the reality. And I didn't choose to go shopping, thank God.
Mm-hmm.
But I said, take care of my mental health. And I kept talking to a counselor, you know, about my
Mm-hmm.
grief.
Yeah.
And then I threw myself into work,
Yeah.
you know. And
That's,
when I
yeah.
was tempted not to throw myself into work, my business coach would be throwing himself into work. And
Into
I'd be like, God, I got
yeah.
to get back to work,
Yeah.
you know. And
Association.
yeah, it's not about not feeling your feelings, but you know what? You have to find something healthy that you
Yeah.
can do to forward your future at the same time you're going through a tough time.
Yeah. Because we do. We go through tough times. And that's one of the things I think once you're aware, you know, and really truly, we have to have moments where we really truly get with ourselves and are
Yes.
really, really speaking with ourselves about where we are. And so to your point, you know, I had all these plans last year because it was like, oh, well, now I have time to blah, blah, blah. But, you know, I think many of us found that we hit walls of creativity, walls of wanting to do, you know, my mom didn't pass, but she went through a very almost terminal scenario.
Mm,
And I found myself like, whoa, you know, and
yes.
to your point, we have to be, I love that you know, got some therapy, you took some time for yourself. That's another
Yep.
tip that I want everybody who's watching, get that, you know, take a moment, take some time for yourself, take a moment, get with your spirit, get with your spiritual mentor, get with God himself. I'm
Yes.
going to say that,
Meditate, whatever it
meditate. Yeah.
is,
Take a
go
moment.
walking in fresh air. It's so important for us to take care of ourselves because otherwise our business will suffer.
Yeah.
And at a time of growth, I mean, honestly, this year, my business has grown exponentially through just some strategic points that my business coach took me through.
Mm-hmm.
Um, at mypurposemypower.com, which is what he, you know, he believes that our purpose, you know,
Mm-hmm.
becomes our power, our passion, and
Mm-hmm.
that we carry that through the future, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so within that, I had to really decide. I've always known this was my passion,
Mm-hmm.
but I truly had to be deliberate and make it my purpose.
Yeah.
Okay. And in that, my love for people, I love people, period. I'm very
Yeah.
empathetic. I hurt when people hurt.
Me too. Yeah.
Um, and so I had to find a way to channel that to help my clients in a way that at the end of the day, I felt good about it. You know,
Yeah.
I give away tons of, like you're doing now, free information. I want to help people.
So
You know, I
good.
want to help you further for your family, for your children. It's not good when mommy and dad, you know, they're living paycheck to paycheck and one of them lose their job. And
Yeah.
now, you know, the kids hear them bickering because it's stress,
Yeah.
you know. So I just believe in having a total healthy mindset, which includes everything you said about budgeting and
Mm-hmm.
planning. I love
Yeah.
everything. I mean, we can sit and talk for days. It's
For
all good.
days. So, okay, as we wrap up, three tips that you can share with the audience from your expertise of what they can do today to help when it comes to their bookkeeping or counting or, you know, finance. Three tips, and then we're going to wrap up. You can tell us, is there anything that we can keep you accountable to with Kimberly Winborne LLC and or Coffee and Collaborations Media? Because, you know, people will write in, did she blah, blah,
Yes.
blah, because she said for us to keep her accountable. So those 3
Yes.
tips, and then anything we can keep you accountable to.
Well, I believe that you should set a goal. So if you haven't already written out your business plan, give me a call. I can help you with your business plan. Get with whoever you work with and trust. The Small Business Administration has available counselors for you.
Yeah.
SCORE has available mentors for free for you.
Yeah.
They will help you with your business plan, and they will help you determine where you want to be in the future. So a part of my business plan was being a millionaire in 12 months. I'm at 11 months. So I backed into what my budget needed to be. So the second thing will be budget.
Yes.
Figure out what your budget needs to be, how much money you need to make to do what it is you want to do. Translate that to customers. I know that's $20,000 a week. Okay. What can I do to get me a business stream to do that? I tell all my clients, have 1, 2, 3 companies. You know, don't just serve your boss 9 to 5 and not sow into you and your children. Not only does it help your taxes by having your own business, I always, you know, I'm definitely a proponent of that.
Yes.
But it helps you live and be happy, because you can't be happy 9 to 5, right? You have to express yourself. And the third thing is truly about getting either your business coach or your mentor to talk to you about what your next steps are. Because sometimes it's hard when you don't know what you need to do next. So we're talking about, you know, your purpose, your plan. We're talking about budgeting. But then what do you do next? I think I reached my goal. You know, I went from $2,000 a month up to $8,000. What do I do? Part of that should be a savings for your business. You know, part of that should be planning to pay your bills. Don't forget to put some aside for Uncle Sam. You know, and then if you're a person who believes in personal savings, tithing, you put aside things of that nature. Don't let your business sense go out the window when you start making money.
Right. And what can we keep you accountable to?
Being a millionaire in 11 more months. I plan on doing it because I believe the more I make, the more I can help people. I want to be in a position where I can give everything away for free. I would rather have, you know, 100 people saying, Saa'dia, help me get through X, than me saying, oh, here I am. I've not had my customers, my clients' best interests at heart, and I've made money. For me, I see it as me being able to help my clients, me being able to help more people. And that's what I'm about. So I'm just looking forward to, you know, y'all keeping me accountable. We'll see where I am in another year.
Love it. I had to put her on the spotlight for that. All right. So thank you, Saa'dia, for joining us today. Thank you for this time together. We will absolutely see her again. You guys, you tell that we just bonded and all of that on a whole other level.
Yes.
Our geeky world of finance, which is good information.
Good.
Yeah. So thank you.
I appreciate you having me here today. I'm glad that you extended your audience and giving them another point of view. I would encourage everyone to go out and finish their taxes. Please pull all of your tax information together and take it to your accountant, your CPA. I'm available, Prosperity Financial Services, so that we can get your taxes filed on time.
On time. So you guys see her information, you have it. We'll also put it, it'll be in the description in case you missed it. So thank you all for joining us. All right, you guys, make sure to come back next week where we'll have another amazing guest, okay? And then also make sure that you subscribe. So go ahead right now. If you haven't, you're watching, go ahead and subscribe to Coffee and Collaborations Media. If you're a podcast listener and you're listening to the sound of my voice, go ahead and subscribe to Podbean, to our channel. Okay, we are bringing you amazing resources weekly for free. So go ahead
Yes.
and go ahead and subscribe and support. We really appreciate it. You can stay in the know of what we have going on. If you're not already available, aware rather, go to coffeeandcollaborations.com. Find out about all of our shows. We have one other podcast. Thank God it's Fashion Friday. That's going to be coming back on May 7th at 9 p.m. Actually, he's changing the time to 8:15. We're going to do that one a little earlier. So thank God it's Fashion Friday, a little bit of fun on Fridays. Then we also have the Love and Flow TV show. So you can find all of that through Coffee and Collaborations, whether you're on Instagram, Facebook, or check us out on the website. You all have an amazing rest of your Monday. Remember to be a light, because someone is waiting for you to shine so that they will feel alive and awakened to do the same. But we have to show up, be a light, not for ourselves, but for the bigger picture. And I like to say, as the scripture says, for God, to be a vessel for the kingdom of God. That is why I let my light shine, and for no other reason. So thank you all for joining. I appreciate you. The coffee is optional now, but the collaboration is essential to your win. Take care.